Greetings and salutations, everyone. Welcome to Liberty Pole Radio, and I'm your host, the Illustrious Narrator. Today's episode, we'll be discussing the Epstein War, Robin Leach is in the files, Where's Mitch, So Long Lindsey, and the Reflecting Pool fiasco. So, everyone, let's get started. On February 28th, 2026, President Trump decided to attack Iran. The unofficial reasons why is because he needed a distraction from the Epstein files. Trump himself has mentioned more times in the FBI's collection of the Epstein files than Jesus and God in the Bible. Backlash for the Epstein files had ramifications around the world except the United States, where the main figure in the files is the President of America. He had his attack dogs and the FBI quell the release of any more files from being released, despite affidavits and testimonies from those who have identified him as part of Epstein's child sex ring, along with a lot of celebrities and billionaires. For someone who felt he was persecuted by the Biden administration and how he supposedly weaponized the FBI against him, Mr. Projection himself has done this tenfold and is continuing to do so. In his infinite wisdom, Cheeto Mussolini, with the help of his sponsors and benefactors, has done what rabid Republicans have been howling for years to do. They want to turn Iran into a bed of glass. The war to date has cost the taxpayers over $120 billion. Pete Kagsbreth, the so-called Secretary of War, has went before the Senate and the House all full of lipstick and hairspray and all that shit, demanding that the government give him, his department, over $20 trillion. If they don't, then they're a bunch of soft, commie, woke assholes, more or less in his own words. The U.S. military is not even using real war strategy or logistical planning. Instead, they're using the AI software that has been provided to them by the tech bros. This has cost the lives of thousands of innocent Iranians due to AI technology instead of using math, and old-fashioned strategy. The official reason the Oval Office has given for bombing Iran is to prevent them from having the capabilities of making nuclear weapons, even though North Korea, an even bigger threat to the United States, has the abilities to make a nuclear warhead. While the Trump administration has had a hard-on for Iran since the Orange Buffoon's first term, he even had Iran's top general, Qasem Soleimani, assassinated in January of 2020. And during the Epstein War, he committed another war crime by assassinating the supreme leader of Iran, Ali Khamenei. Trump thought by killing Iran's leader, which it would lead to the collapse of the country's government and the people would welcome their attackers as liberators and overthrow their masters. Well, that hasn't happened, and when the U.S. military killed thousands of civilians, including a schoolhouse, it had the reverse effect. Now it's been almost 6 months since the war with Iran started, and we're back at square one. There has been a few brief ceasefires, but they only happened because the U.S. military has run out of munitions on those occasions. Because of the Trump-Epstein war, this dotard is going to bring down the world economy due to his blockade of the Strait of Hormuz. And when the oil and fertilizers run out, people in America and around the world will start hurting, all because this kid toucher is afraid to face the music. We are all going to suffer because of those 78 million cult followers who voted for this orange clown back in 2024. America is reaching a breaking point, and thanks to the so-called peace president, we're all going to suffer while the billionaires continue to rake in the dough. The oil companies are making huge profits thanks to the Epstein war, but there's going to be a day when the people are tired of being oppressed by the Epstein class, and they'll face their day of reckoning. You are listening to Liberty Pole Radio. Robin Leach was a TV personality and entertainment reporter from London, England. He gained fame in the United States as the host of the syndicated television show Lifestyles of Rich and Famous. He was the host of the program and toured the houses of wealthy celebrities and socialites. During this time, he became friends with Donald Trump, the future God Emperor of the White House. A few months ago, the FBI dumped a bunch of Epstein files online, and several well-known people appeared in them, including President Trump and former President Bill Clinton. One of the complaints against Donald Trump was registered against the president around 1985 and 1986. The anonymous filer said that Donald Trump, Jeffrey Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell, along with Robin Leach, were having an underage girl get-together at the Trump golf course in Rancho Palos Verde. All four of these six freaks were having an orgy, allegedly, with the young girls, and several of them disappeared and might have been buried on the property. The anonymous complainant was threatened by Trump's head of security when she questioned about the missing girls and what happened to them. The guard told the complainant that if she ever talked about what she saw and what went on, she'll end up as fertilizer on the back nine along with the other C words. Another reported incident was filed with the FBI around the same time. The anonymous complainant said they have video of sex parties, dealings with the Sinaloa cartel, and saw Robin Leach strangle a young girl to death in a drug-fueled child orgy. Discussing if these things happen, allegedly, and if it's true, I hope Robin Leach is buried under hell. Where's old Mitch McConnell? Everybody's favorite right-wing ancient scumbag, MAGA bootlicker, Mitch McConnell has gone missing. He's allegedly staying in the hospital for a few ailments. One big problem with that, he hasn't been seen in weeks. The only proof of life evidence was a photo that looks like it was an AI-generated image showing Mitch the turtle holding a newspaper. The problem is that he looks better in it than he did before he was taken to the hospital. Videos and photos prior to his ambulance trip, Mitch looked like death warmed over, but the picture his staff released has a decrepit, rotten old man looking spry and cheerful, wearing jeans and a button-up shirt, relaxing in a hospital bed. Hey, I've been hospitalized before, and they don't let you wear anything but a hospital gown. Try to wear a hospital gown for a week. It'll drive you crazy. Mitch is being kept on ice until August 4th or so the Republican Party can replace him with a fellow party member and not a Democrat like the governor of Kentucky, Andy Beshear, would. It seems like the Republicans will play Weekend at Bernie's with old Mitch until August 4th, when his health will sadly take a turn for the worse and he'll pass away. You are listening to Liberty Pole Radio. So long, Lindsey Graham. Lindsey Graham was buried this week, and Cheeto Mussolini made the news for his bizarre eulogy and gave his casket a little pat in an attempt to show some sympathy. He also sat through the funeral services, crapping in his diaper. A few attendees were visibly disgusted when the orange clown dropped a few deuces in his slacks. Now a few words about Graham. I'm not going to talk about him being in the closet because he's a terrible hypocrite who's had blood on his due to his hawkish politics. When he was in Congress, Lindsey was one of the 18 congressmen to impeach President Clinton for his extramarital affair with Monica Lewinsky and was the impeachment manager. Graham loved giving billions of dollars to the U.S. military. He supported the Persian Gulf War on terror, attacking and occupying Afghanistan. He was in favor of torturing alleged terrorists at Guantanamo Bay and opposed universal health care. He also supported Israel's occupation of Gaza and was a big fan of nation building. He was in step with Trump's kidnapping of Nicolas Maduro, and he got his long life dream of bombing Iran. Oh, crikey, this dude's a scumbag. Lindsey at one time was a never-Trumper and tried to run for president in 2016, but he polled so badly that he received 1% in the polls that he gave up and endorsed several candidates that were quickly jettisoned by the wayside. Losers like Jeb Vanilla Bush, Narco Rubio, Rafael, a.k.a. Ted Cruz. He opposed Trump, calling him a jackass several times, and vowed to vote in the 2016 U.S. presidential election for anyone but Trump or Hillary Clinton. Graham claimed to have voted for a third-party candidate, but he quickly changed his tune in March of 2017 after a meeting with the Orange Clown and became one of his biggest bootlickers and cheerleaders. Graham, who died so quickly from years of abusing his body with booze and having an unhealthy lifestyle, it was so fast that his party couldn't even hide his death. The dude had access to the best health care that money can buy, and he was too proud to go to the hospital despite having terrible symptoms hours before he died. I hope he keeps his seat ready for 45-47 when it's his time. And now we wrap up with some news about the reflecting pool fiasco. Old Trumpy tried to frame a former Olympian canoeist, David Hearn, for desecrating the reflecting pool in Washington, D.C. The shoddy paint job was contracted to one of the Orange Clown's MAGA cronies. The dude was a pool guy and not a pond guy, and he did a terrible, cheap job restoring the reflecting pool. Trump, in his infinite wisdom, had his motorcade drive over the reflecting pool before it was cured, along with the blue color which attracted algae, and the rush job made for a cornucopia of trouble. Days before the 250 celebrations in Washington, D.C., the reflecting pool turned green due to the paint job and the removal of the filter system that President Obama installed over 10 years ago. Instead of blaming his lousy contractors, Trump blamed Antifa and far-left radicals for sabotaging his beautiful pool. Looking for a scapegoat, the FBI arrested several people for allegedly slicing the pool coating, including David Hearn, who was visiting the Capitol Mall that day. The poor dude was arrested on July 2nd and was indicted for a felony, destruction of property. Hearn pleaded not guilty, and on July 31st, the Department of Justice dropped the felony charge. This did not please El Presidente, who said on his Truth Social page, "I disagree with Jeanine Pirro, the U.S. Attorney for the District of Columbia, on the reflecting pool. I don't know what she's thinking. To me, it was a pure case of vandalism that included the grass, which had a big 8647 emblazoned in giant letters on it, and other elements of the surrounding areas. There may have been some contractor difficulty, but the major damage was caused by vandals." President Donald J. Trump. Pyro may be a box of wine wino, but she's not stupid. She knows that if she tried to send David Hearn to trial, she would get disbarred. Old Jeannie may be looking for another gig soon. And now a word from a former Revolutionary War soldier, David Brown. All our administration is fast approaching to the Lords and Commons as possible, that a few men should possess the whole country, and the rest be tenants to the others. Downfall to the tyrants of America. Peace and retirement to the President. That wraps up another episode of Liberty Pole Radio. I hope you enjoyed it. Cheerio.